What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid coming at you with another Destiny video. Today, it's Thanksgiving, so for those of you in the USA, happy Turkey Day to you. I hope you have a great day eating food, drinking whatever it is you might drink, and hanging out with your family and friends. Have a great day. For us on the channel, we're going to do a quick video. It's going to be the top 5 guns that I'm most thankful for in Destiny. That's right, these weapons are the ones that I go ahead and take into raids, into PvE events, strikes, nightfalls, whatever it may be, and into the Crucible to maybe shoot some of you in the head. Maybe. And all of these guns are guns that are actually out and relevant now. We're not going to be seeing guns like Year 1 guns like the Fatebringer. Those things have already seen their time in the sun, so they're not going to be in this video. These are going to be weapons that are out right now that you can be using and will be using often. With number 5, oh my goodness, kid, you're cheating already? The Dark Drinker's not even a freaking gun, you noob. You noob, didn't you even notice that this was a sword? This isn't a gun. Yes, that's right, Dark Drinker is a sword, but it's still a weapon, so I'll allow it. So the reason I'm so thankful for the Dark Drinker is this weapon pretty much lets you erase any mistakes that you might be making whenever you're doing the Wrath of the Machine raid. This weapon is pretty much like the eraser. You go ahead and use this and just pile up the damage. So that means you can spend more time focusing and worrying about where to get into place for access than worrying about getting off that last final shot with your sniper. That last final burst, whatever it is, get into position, then you know whenever it's time for that final run, Dark Trigger comes out, the weapons bubble comes out, and you spin, you spin, you spin, and you deal out a crap ton of damage. This is one of the first bosses in the game that you can actually get close and melee. At number 4, I've got the Matador 64. Always good to have a trusty shotgun by your side in Destiny for the Crucible. And this one fits the bill. I've got that sweet and sexy range and impact roll, where I've got rifle barrel for overmax range, and that means I can then take aggressive ballistics because the range loss will still keep me at maximum shotgun range, so I can have maximum range and maximum impact. And to add insult to injury, I've got rangefinder as well, so yeah, this shotgun is definitely as good as it gets for me. And like I said, even though it's new and I haven't used it a whole lot in the Crucible, I'm so glad to go ahead and have it. And of course, whenever I've got it, I pair it up with that cheesy and dirty Stormcaller shotgun melee combo, and it's just so good. Now typically I'm only running shotguns whenever I'm on my Stormcaller anymore, because I am so used to that long range kill that you can go ahead and get with the shotgun melee burst with the Stormcaller tickle fingers, that whenever I go ahead and put a shotgun over on my Hunter or on my Titan and I try to shotgun melee, I just fail and I whiff so often, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am so far away, this is so silly. So in those characters, we definitely have to swap up the weapons, but as far as my Stormcaller goes, this is the way to go. It might be dirty right now, but it helps. It really helps to go ahead and get those extra range kills. Typically, most of the work isn't being done by the shotgun, actually, it's by the melee, but we're going to let the shotgun take its glory, because without that first initial hit, you're never going to be able to finish them off with the melee. I like it, it's so much fun to go ahead and have. And we all know you need to have at least one really trusty shotgun to go ahead and take into Crucible. On to number 3, if we're not rocking out the shotguns, we've got the new Saladin's Vigil. This is a high impact fusion rifle, slow charge rate, but mine has a great roll. I've got braced frame for all the stability you could ever want, we've got quick draw, and we've got rangefinder on it. This particular fusion rifle is so amazing. Now, I never used to rock out this slow charging fusion rifle. I used to always use something like a Plan C, or an Ash Raven's Flight, or a Panteray, something that was a 5 bolt kill and was a quicker charge rate. But as I got more familiar and comfortable with this thing has such a great stability and such a great bolt spread that it makes it really worthwhile to go ahead and use, because you only need to kill an enemy with 4 bolts. 4 bolts need to hit an enemy, and that gives you just a little bit more leeway as long as you're worrying about your charge rate, maybe pre-charging a little bit. And once you start getting used to it, you're gonna really like it by your side. In fact, I even took it into this Trials of Osiris map whenever everybody else was using sniper rifles, and I did have some success with it. So it's definitely a lot of fun. I really enjoyed. You can go ahead and get it from the Archon's Forge. So if you like what you see with this, you might like to try it out, go ahead into the Archon's Forge and grind for it. It's not that difficult to go ahead and get a solid roll on it. So even though the drop might take a little bit of time to go ahead and get, you don't need a whole lot on it in order to have something that's viable and deadly. Try to worry about that stability first. Stability on fusion rifles, that's my number one thing. I've tried to go the range route, but I always find that I do just much better whenever I have stability over the range. So if you can go ahead and get brace frame alone on this, you're going to be in good shape. So I would go ahead and recommend this, and definitely thankful for the Saladin's Vigil and the Archon's Forge. Moving on to number 2, we've got the Grasp of Malak. Now this one probably does not surprise anybody. We've done a lot of Grasp videos over the time on this channel, ever since I got it to drop. Farming Omnigul for this thing was so worthwhile. That one week that we had Solar Burn on, and we were able to go in there with our Celestial Nighthawks after the supers were buffed, and just farm Omnigul over and over again, and that's where I got this Grasp. I've got Perfect Balance, I've got Counterbalance, and I've got Glass Half Full. If I really want to, I can go ahead and put Brace Frame on it. This is my baby for the Crucible. This is pretty much my go-to primary weapon. Yes, I do swap out my primary weapons and everything, but if I'm ever feeling like I'm just down and terrible and just doing awful, I go ahead and swap over to this thing. It's good in close range, it's good in long range. You can't go wrong with this type of weapon. It's so good, it's definitely in the meta right now. It's pretty much something that everybody wants to have at their side, and that's why everybody's pretty much rocking out their Clever Dragons right now, because that is pretty much right on par with the Grasp. You can't go wrong with either of these weapons. Faster firing weapons in the Crucible are the way to go. That's the way you take down the enemies as quick as possible and try to stay safe by yourself. So we've got the Dark Drinker, we've got the Matador 64, Saladin's Vigil, and the Grasp of Malak. 4 weapons down, 1 to go. What do you think the number 1 weapon's gonna be? Number 1 on the list is the Gjallarhorn. Whether it's gold, whether it's black, it doesn't really matter. This weapon is in the game again, thankfully. After an absence for a year, we finally got the Gjallarhorn back. And yes, let's get it out there right off the top of the bat. It is not as powerful as it was back in year 1, but it is still very powerful, and it still feels good to use. I would definitely like to have it bumped up just a little bit, or at least have its consistency back, because there's definitely a problem with the Wolfpack rounds not always activating whenever you're firing this weapon off over and over again in succession. So I'd like to have it buffed just a little bit, or at least fixed. But still, regardless of all of that, the Gjallarhorn is back. It took me so long to get this gun. It took me from September, whenever Destiny released for vanilla, until roughly March to get this gun. So I went through all of Crota, pretty much all of Crota that mattered, without a Gjallarhorn. Back whenever everybody was like, oh, Gjallarhorns only. Thankfully I had a group of people that really didn't care because they knew that it really didn't matter. But Gjallarhorn only, that was a thing back in year 1, and I finally got mine before the Prison of Elders. And then in the Prison of Elders, wow, yeah, the strategies on those bosses were typically Gjallarhorn only. So I was really glad to go ahead and have that thing. I'm so glad to have this thing by my side. I'm really glad that it's actually back in the game, and thankful for it being back, because it gives us more options for heavies, for bosses, and little small grunt enemies alike. So those are my top 5 weapons that I'm most thankful for in Destiny. Now I'm really curious in the comment section below, let me know what your top 5 weapons are. What are you so glad to have around? What do you like to have by your side? What are your killing machine weapons? What couldn't you go on without? If Destiny took it out of the game, what would you absolutely die? Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your weapons, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #Turkey Day.